All jokes aside, guys, today I want to be speaking about Russian ruble exchange rates. You may hear the news that Russian economy is doing pretty bad, but in fact, a Russian ruble rate is actually getting stronger. Today, it was less than 75 rubles per dollar, and to be honest, before the special military operation it was 73 rubles per dollar. So imagine that our currency exchange rate is almost on the same level as before the special military operation, which is very crazy. Shops are closing in Russian shopping malls. Just kidding, guys. I'm just walking around very old style Russian typical shopping mall, and some places here are for rent. Even this tired girl is feeling the world financial crisis. We're going to be speaking about the real situation of Russian economy because it has been 4 years after sanctions, and you can still see news from the Western media is that Russian economy is going very bad, and then Russia will collapse soon. Like this shop you see, it's also for rent, and you see USA washer jeans also this clothes is shop. It's just because this shopping mall you see is very old fashioned style from 2005 maybe, and they now redoing this shopping mall. And in the opposite, guys, the online commerce in Russia is so growing at the moment that these random shops are closing with random clothes you see, and more online shops are selling from ozone and wildberries. It means that all people nowadays buying this normal average clothes like this in online markets, and that's why you see many closures of these fashion boutiques. You can tell me, Lisa, it should be that nice that Russian ruble is getting stronger, but I would tell you that no, it's rather not very nice, and I will try to explain you why. I will show you the most capitalist coffee in Vladivostok town. Look, we have Wall Street coffee. Imagine you have like Tverskaya Street somewhere in New York. Look, it have a bear and the bull together. Let's go there and let's have some black coffee and let's have a heart attack, because if you will look at the Russian ruble exchange rate, it looks like a legit heart attack. Most crazy feature in this Wall Street coffee shop is that they literally have a television with capitalist economical views. So for this video, it matches the topic, and I decided to show you this amazing place. I am not a financial analyst from the Wall Street. I just will try to explain you the real economic situation as a normal person living in Russia. I feel at the moment that Russia is becoming pretty much capitalist country because everything is going more expensive. But I know, guys, it's all happening all around the world, the inflation, but in Russia it's changed very much in the last couple of years, and the prices are very comparable to the Western Europe at the moment. Of course, not that expensive as in America, but it's not a cheap third world place as some people might think. Because what happened was after sanctions, Russian ruble went very, very cheap, and the exchange rate was around 90 to 100 rubles per dollar. And then, if you are outside of Russia, everything would feel very cheap in Russia, because with this exchange rate, if you use your dollars can buy a lot of things with these cheap prices in Russia. Even myself, when I went to Moscow first time, after a while, I went to supermarket and I was shocked when I saw like 30 cents bread or half a dollar food and stuff like that. Everything felt very cheap compared to exchange rate of couple of years ago when it was around 90 rubles or 100 rubles. What happened after that? Economy cannot be stable, it have to adapt to the environment, right? So what happened was all of these Russian prices about 1 or 2 years ago, they adapted to the new currency exchange rate, which was very high, right? Because we are in a system of American dollars, we all depend on it, right? Every country. But for my American viewers, I heard that how to measure your economical stability is your fuel prices. Like if the fuel prices are growing, you feel like something is bad. Same as for us, if Russian ruble is going cheap and dollar is growing, it means that it's pretty bad. But if dollar is going more cheap, it means that economics is more good. And after these 2 years, prices adapted a lot with a new dollar exchange rate. But what happened recently in the last half a year, in the last 2025, actually ruble start to grow back and now it costs less than 80 rubles, which is a big difference, guys. So the dollar changed in about like 20 or 30%. And even though ruble is getting stronger, prices are never going back on the same rate. You know what I mean? They grew up, but the exchange rate changed. It means that now ruble is stronger and everything just more expensive in Russia with a new currency exchange rate. This is a real example of this exact capitalist coffee. A couple of years ago, with old exchange rate, this coffee would cost $3, but today it costs $4. Pretty amazing. They have here this international news from Bloomberg television. Such a sunny and bright day today in Vladivostok. I wanted to climb this hill today, but actually weather is so windy, so it's very hard to film outside. So let's just have a walk to amazing streets of central Vladivostok. This is how it looks. People from Europe or from the West in general, they believe that Russia may have very bad economic situation because we spend so much money on a special military operation and for our military. They believe so. But the reality is that actually Russian budget is pretty big and that Russia spends only a few percent of our yearly budget for the military. Yes, of course, this budget for the military is growing and it's very big. And on a regional level, it feels like they spending on another things because, you know, I've heard news in Vladivostok that, for example, in New Year celebration or when they do some city projects, they really cut our city spendings. Of course, they spend a lot of budget for the capital of Russia. Moscow is never cut off budget because, you know, they try to make Moscow the best city. But, you know, in Vladivostok, still you see roads being built, the buildings are standing, car is going on the street. So there is no so major crisis happened, but local people can feel that the city budget is a little bit less than before. This is a tiger Russia. It's our building of city administration, Russian flag, and a very big tiger on top. Yes, our region is famous for its tiger nature. And it's this very beautiful street. It's very windy though today, so I will go back down from this hill. This road down will take us to the central square of Vladivostok. I heard comments from you guys that you want to see more of surroundings and less of my face. So today I'll show you more of the streets of Vladivostok, because look at this beautiful day today. The church is very shiny today, and what's going on at the central square. 2 weeks before, they already started to build a big stage for the Victory Day, and a lot of pigeons having a bath here under the sun. Another very interesting situation that happened in Russia recently is that we have a public figure. Her name is Victoria Bonia. She is a celebrity in Russia. She has a very big page in social media with pictures, with many millions of subscribers, because she used to be a TV host in Russia, and she's not an oppositioner, but her audience is just normal Russian people who like to watch TV, just a normal average people in Russia. So she created a video which gets a lot of views. She addressed Russian government and says that actually right now people are complaining about internet blockages in Russia. Yes, and I can feel it too. Recently, we have so many videos on social media saying that people actually feel that, and it affects the Russian economy, because a lot of small businesses in Russia, such as coffee shops, small brands, like everyone, like small businessmen, they used to promote their business in social media, and now it's more hardly controlled in Russia, and it's just hard to make sales. That's why Russian people are pretty tough, because we are between two walls. One side we need to avoid sanctions, and another side we need to try to avoid new Russian laws and new regulations. What happened to this big video from Victoria Boni is actually it got so many views in Russia among just normal average people, that actually Russian government official actually replied to it. So let's see what's going to happen with the Russian internet. Maybe they will really realize that by closing everything down is actually not doing any better to the normal average Russian people, and is not doing any better for a Russian economy. We started to have a season of tourism here in Vladivostok, and it's actually making me happy, because I see so many foreign people from Korea and China, and you see they taking picture with some kind of Chinese banner in front of our church. Yeah, so it's fun. This new situation with Russian currency is affecting life of normal Russian people, because it affects the income and salaries in Russia. For me, it feels like in the last couple of years, salaries has been growing, because with inflation, everything have to grow. But at the same time, I feel like even though salaries are growing, with the rising prices, you need to work even harder to afford same amount of goods as a few years ago. But the plus is, even though your salary is growing, if you decide to go outside of Russia with your Russian salary, you finally can afford more things than before, because like your currency is stronger in international market, right? But how it affected my life actually is that I work on YouTube, and YouTube send us capitalist dollars. But for me, actually, it was better when the dollar was stronger and ruble is weaker, because I just simply would get more money, right? But with now new exchange rate, ruble is stronger. It means that with dollars, I feel I receive less money than before. And it feels like for me, even though my channel is growing, but prices are rising, and I feel like I stayed on the same level with my income, is that now I just need to work harder to stay on the same level of income with my views. So this is how it feels. I don't want to complain. Like, I think it's life. Yeah, we need to adapt to the new environment and situation. And yeah, I used to adapting already because these 4 years under sanctions and 3 years I'm in Russia, like every year something changes, from the beginning it was more good situation, and now something changes, new laws, new sanctions and stuff like that. So it's life, guys, it's life. So this was me, Lisa the Russian, from my car. And if you want to subscribe to my life in Far East of Russia, please click subscribe button. If you really like what I'm doing here, you can support my job financially by subscribing on my Patreon or here on YouTube, or sending me tiny little donations. And if you want to learn more about me, Lisa the Russian, you can go and watch other vlogs on my channel because I have a lot of them. Thank you guys for staying until the very, very end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.